Hi everyone and welcome back. I wanted to know if I could make a model of a horse that I could successfully cast in a mold, so the only way to find out was to get something started. I had a design in mind, so I started by making an armature out of wire in the general shape of the horse. Then I used foil to add volume. For a very long time now, I've been wanting to add customization of creatures to my skill set to enhance future projects that I do. Please don't be alarmed though, I will still be making miniature houses and dioramas, but I really wanted to know if I could make a moldable model. Making a model of a horse that is easily replicated in a mold can be tricky, but not impossible. The four legs, the tail and the long neck make for some interesting geometry to consider. There could potentially be a lot of undercuts to worry about. An undercut is a feature of a model that prevents it from being directly removed from a one-piece mold because it obstructs the removal of the part. Here's a horse that I'm going to position as if it were in a mold. These are some examples of where undercuts would exist, and they make it essential to increase the number of parts required in the mold. That's why I'm trying to make a horse that will have minimal undercuts, therefore requiring less parts in the mold. I'm going to try and get away with 3 parts when I make my mold for this horse. Anyway, back to the model, I covered the foil with masking tape. Then I started adding clay to build up some shape. In case you are wondering what sort of clay I'm using monster clay. Monster clay is a great sculpting medium and is also endlessly reusable. I'm using it to make this model because I don't actually intend to keep the original, and once I've finished casting him from a mold, I'll be melting him back down. I made one of the hooves, and once I was happy with it, I attempted to replicate it another 3 times. I added more clay to build out the stifle or hip area. I used a loop tool to remove clay where I felt there was too much. I continued on to add and remove clay where needed, smoothing the clay with my fingers and a ball stylus as I went. I added more clay to round out his shoulders. I used the loop tool to remove clay to help define the chest area. And also removed clay to help define the groin area. And the flank area. The model was was starting to look more how I had imagined it. I then began to pay attention to the feet. I removed some excess clay. Then it was time to add some horseshoes. When I was relatively happy with the feet, I moved on to sculpting his head. I wanted to make his head a little rounder and bigger. Then I added some clay to help define the back of the neck. I used a loop tool to add shape to the muzzle. I still wasn't satisfied with the shape of the head, so I kept adding more clay where I felt it was necessary. I took clay away to give more form to the throat. And I added more clay around the muzzle area. Then I gave him some cheeks. I felt it was time to stand back and examine what I'd created so far. I needed to make sure that he was indeed mold friendly. I was checking for undercuts mainly and discovered his back area wasn't going to work too well. It could cause an issue and get stuck in the mold. But I soon fixed it by flattening the area. You may have noticed that I had widened the space between the legs. I intended to make one part of the mold to go between the legs, and so it will need to be easy to remove and therefore can't have any undercuts obstructing the path. With those changes made, it was time to give him a tail. I added some armature wire to hold more clay, then proceeded to add clay bit by bit to make the tail. kept adding clay on top of clay, giving the tail more shape and form. I added a flat base to the tail that it could rest on. Then when I was finally happy with the tail, I added some ears. I made the ears flat on purpose. If they were pointing up, they would get caught on the mould. This little guy needed some eyes, so I set about making those. When a sculpture has more than one feature that is the same, like ears, eyes, nostrils, and even legs, it's so difficult to make them even remotely similar to each other. With the eyes completed, it was time to give him a mane. I made his mane by adding lots of these clay snakes in succession. The hair was integrated into the model using the ball stylus and a silicone-tipped smoothing tool. Hair was added to his feet using a similar technique. With that done, I had to fix the underneath of his feet. Then I added his tail back on and used a smoothing compound all over the surface. I added the final touches and then he was done. I hope you enjoyed watching me create this horse. And if you did, please be sure to give this video a like. And if you haven't already, please consider supporting me by subscribing to my channel. Also, be sure to check my next video out when I cast this guy from a mold. Until then, bye for now, and thanks for watching.